So, you won't believe the conversation I had yesterday. It was a disaster.
Oh, yeah. Do you tell?
Okay, so I was helping my friend move this huge armchair. You know the type. It's been in his family forever, and it kind of smells like regret and mothballs.
An heirloom of odor. I know it well. Go on.
Exactly. So we're struggling with it, trying to pivot it around this really tight corner. And I remembered this word, this like super smart verb I learned that morning from my flashcards.
Ah, the flashcard vocabulary. A dangerous game.
I wanted to sound so intelligent, so I grit my teeth and I'm like, okay, Bob, when I lift, can you quickly unhand me the toolbox?
Oh, no. Yes. You said unhand me the tool
I
file.
did.
Wow. That's not just awkward. That's almost aggressive. It sounds like you're a pirate captain demanding he release his plunder.
That is exactly how he reacted. He froze, he stared at the toolbox, then he stared at me, then he like slowly lifted his hand off it.
He looked terrified.
He looked terrified, like I just commanded him to release some ancient cursed artifact.
And the momentum was completely lost.
Totally. All I meant was, hand me the toolbox, or, pass me the toolbox, but my brain just pulled out this dusty, weird word that was completely wrong for the context.
And suddenly you're speaking total textbook robot.
Textbook robot. Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this because, I mean, if you ever had that moment, that embarrassing mistake where you know the word, you can write the definition, but what comes out of your mouth is a linguistic Frankenstein,
Yes, that's it.
that awkward silence, that failure, that is exactly why we are here today.
Welcome back to English Podcast Voice, the place where we learn English effectively.
Have fun doing it. I'm Quinn.
And I'm Riley.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into the real secrets of fluency. We're talking about how to stop learning about the language and actually start living it.
I need this so badly.
We've got some fascinating sources that show us how to use things like psychological habit loops, strategic immersion, and really powerful techniques like sentence mining to make your vocabulary stick and make your speaking just flow.
I need a system. A system so I never accidentally tell someone to release their grip on a simple everyday object ever again. I want my English to feel like it's mine, not something I borrowed from a dusty book.
Well, before we fix this whole mess, please hit like and subscribe to English Podcast Voice right now.
Okay.
We promise we will make sure you never accidentally tell someone to unhand a toolbox again.
Or maybe we promise that if you do, you'll know how to recover from it.
That's a better way to put it. We aim for progress, not perfection.
That's the spirit.
So let's dive in. Why did that mistake even happen? It really comes down to this fundamental tension in language learning.
Right.
It's the input versus output divide.
The great debate. I always wonder about this. Which one is better? I mean, I spent years in school where it was all input. Just read this, listen to that, memorize this list.
Well, your little mishap is the perfect illustration of why just relying on input isn't enough to get you fluent. You absorbed the input, right?
Right.
You saw the word unhand on a flashcard or somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But input, while it's absolutely 100% necessary, it's the beginning of the journey, not the end.
Okay, so let's start there. What's the deal with input?
To really get the input side, you have to look at Stephen Krashen and his really influential input hypothesis.
I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's a big deal. He stresses that learners have to immerse themselves in what he calls comprehensible input, or I+1.
I+1. Okay, what's that?
The A is your current level,
Okay.
and the +1 means the material has to be just a little bit above that level, just slightly challenging.
So it's not so easy, you're bored, but not so hard, you just give up.
You've got it.
Yeah.
It's that sweet spot. You're stretching your understanding without snapping your motivation.
Okay.
And Krashen says this kind of immersion reading, listening, is what's necessary to acquire a language, sort of unconsciously. Use context clues, visual aids, what you already know, to piece together what the new stuff means.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, the classic one our sources give is, say you're learning German. You see a picture of Mr. Spock, and the sentences say, "Das ist Mr. Spock. Mr. Spock hat zwei Ohren."
Okay.
And he's pointing to his ears. The picture, the visual aid, makes it comprehensible. You figure out, okay, zwei must mean two, and Ohren must mean ears, even if you've never seen those words.
Ah, okay, I see. So the input is like it's the raw data. My brain is just filling up a massive database with all these words and patterns.
Exactly. It's a vast ocean of data. But here's the critical point, the one you ran into. You had the input. You knew the definition of unhand. So why did you still mess it up? Why did your database fail to, execute the command correctly?
Yeah. What went wrong?
Because that database needs an operating system. And that's the other half of the equation. It's the point that Meryl Swain makes with her output hypothesis. Your error proves her point perfectly.
So output, speaking and writing.
Right. It's absolutely crucial because it forces your brain to engage with the language structure on a much deeper, more cognitive level.
So input is the data, and output is like the performance. It's the stress test.
That's a perfect way to put it. Swain noticed that even advanced French immersion students who had years and years of great comprehensible input, they still struggled to get their thoughts out coherently when they had to speak spontaneously
But why? They had all the data.
because they hadn't forced themselves to use it actively. Output makes you notice the gaps in your own knowledge. The second you said unhand, your brain, hearing the weird tone and seeing Bob's confused face, went, wait a minute, this is an aggressive dramatic word. This is not a substitute for pass.
It's the difference between knowing the theory of driving and actually trying to navigate rush hour traffic.
Exactly. You only discover your blind spots when you're forced to actually perform.
So output is what refines your fluency and tests your application.
Yes, and it strengthens the neural pathways for retrieval, which brings us to the core of this whole deep dive. Fluency itself. What even is fluency? Is it just speaking really fast?
That's what I always thought. The fastest talker wins.
That's the common assumption, but it's really flawed. Studies on second language learners show that fluency is fundamentally performance-based.
Performance-based.
It's all about ease, flow, and continuity. It's about delivering your speech without all those, disruptive, unnecessary pauses. It's actually separate from being perfectly grammatically accurate.
Wait, really? So you can be fluent but still make mistakes?
Absolutely. You can be fluent but make a few grammar mistakes.
Mm.
And on the flip side, you can be grammatically perfect but speak so slowly and hesitantly that you're considered non-fluent.
Whoa. That totally shifts the goalposts. So if fluency is a performance, what are the factors that actually influence it?
Well, our sources point to three major pillars that determine how fluent we sound. The first one, and it's the one most students think is the most important, is linguistic factors.
I mean, that makes sense. I can't be fluent in Spanish if I don't know any Spanish words.
Right. And within that pillar, the single most influential element is vocabulary.
The words themselves.
Yes. Students in the studies consistently rated its impact the highest. And what that means, in practice, is that having a huge bank of words allows for quicker searches in your brain.
Which means smoother production.
Exactly. It directly prevents those long pauses and hesitations that just scream non-fluent to anyone listening.
So it's the limited lexical resource problem. If
Yeah.
my brain takes too long to find the right file, I just stall. I pause. Or I grab the wrong awkward word like unhand.
You got it. The speed of retrieval is huge for flow. Now, grammar and pronunciation are also important, of course, but they're less dominant in predicting that perceived speed and flow than just the sheer size of your working vocabulary.
So vocabulary is the engine of flow.
And grammar is the chassis that holds it together.
Okay, so linguistic factors are the tools. What's the second pillar?
Affective factors. This is your mindset. These are the psychological elements that are the real driving force behind your willingness to even perform in the first place.
My emotions are controlling my speech delivery. Yeah, that sounds about right for me.
Well, the most influential factor this study found was motivation,
Okay.
specifically external motivation. So, getting good grades, getting sincere praise or compliments from a teacher or a native speaker, that's highly effective for encouraging you to engage.
So if someone says, wow, your Spanish is great, I'm way more willing to take a risk and actually try speaking more.
Exactly. And conversely, the dark cloud here is high anxiety. Anxiety just crushes performance because it comes from that fear of making mistakes, right? the fear of being judged.
I feel that it's the perfection trap. I just freeze up because I don't want to sound stupid.
And that fear triggers this cognitive overload, which leads to that non-fluent speech pattern. It's full of pauses because you're constantly second-guessing every single word before it even leaves your mouth.
So we have the materials and we have the mindset. What's the final pillar that ties it all together?
Performance factors. This is all about the context and the timing of the actual speaking task. This is where practicing under pressure becomes so important.
You mean like with actual time constraints, like a job interview or just a quick chat with someone?
Precisely. Time pressure and planning time are hugely significant. Learners who get used to speaking under some time pressure make way better progress in their delivery speed. That ability to quickly search your brain for a word, form the grammar, and just start talking. That's a skill you build from experience.
So if I never force myself to speak quickly, I never develop that spontaneous speed.
You'll always be slow. Wow. So fluency is this delicate ecosystem of knowing enough words, being brave enough to use them, and being fast enough to deliver them.
Yeah, the goal isn't just to pile up knowledge. It's to build systems that bypass the need for constant willpower and just move language into that automatic, unconscious part of your brain.
You just hit the central point, automatization. Your brain is still relying on willpower, unconsciously thinking about the grammar rule and the dictionary definition. And as any research on habits will tell you, willpower runs out. Motivation is temporary.
We need to turn effort into mental shortcuts that take zero thinking.
And with that, welcome to our Upgrade Game segment.
I desperately need to level up. My current routine is stare at my Spanish book, feel guilty, and then open up social media.
That is a path to burnout, not fluency. So today, we're turning that daunting goal of fluency, which takes thousands of hours, into small, repeatable, automated actions. Let's start with the absolute foundation. Consistency.
Okay, let's do
#tag upgrade 1. The bulletproof habit loop. The theory here, and this is pulled from a ton of neuroscience research, is the habit loop. It has 3 parts: cue, routine, and reward.
Cue, routine, reward. I've heard of this.
Right. It's a neurological pattern that turns effort into a mental shortcut, so you can be consistent without having to rely on motivation.
So the cue triggers the action, the routine is the action, and the reward is that little dopamine hit that makes me want to do it again.
Exactly.
But what if I work a grueling 9 to 5? How do I start a routine when I have literally zero motivation at 7 p.m.?
That is the exact trap everyone falls into. Relying on your after-work willpower is a recipe for failure.
My gut says I just need to, set a reminder to study after dinner, even when I'm tired.
That's the old way. You're trying to use that exhausted willpower. Here's the power phrase. This is the key from all the research. Attach the routine to an existing cue.
Attach it to something I already do.
Yes. We have to implant the new action into an already established routine. Something simple and stable. Think about what you do every single day without fail, without even thinking about it.
Making coffee. I literally do it every single morning. It's ironclad.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is your cue. Now, the next step is you have to drastically reduce the friction for your new routine. Friction is anything that takes extra time or thought or effort. If it takes 3 steps to start studying, you just won't do it.
So if my goal is to listen to a French podcast on my commute, the friction is like finding my headphones, opening the right app, searching for the podcast.
All of that. To reduce that friction to almost zero, you pre-stage it. The night before, you put your headphones already plugged into your phone right on top of your coffee mug. Better yet, you set your phone to open the podcast app instead of your music app the second you plug your headphones in.
Whoa, so you're making language learning the path of least resistance.
It should be so low friction that it's actually easier to do it than to ignore it. You essentially made language learning the price of entry for your morning coffee.
Okay, I see. So, usage example. Every time I put the kettle on, that's my cue.
I will open my Spanish ebook that is already sitting open on the counter and read 1 page. That's the routine.
And the reward is that feeling of immediate progress, plus, of course, the caffeine.
You've put consistency on autopilot. This is how you conquer those thousands of hours, not with a giant wave of motivation, but by making learning an automatic, deeply ingrained habit.
Okay, that's huge. What's next?
Hashtag upgrade 2, the power duo. Now that we've automated consistency, we need to make it efficient. This next upgrade is how we move those words from your short-term memory into long-term accessible fluency. This is the power duo: active recall and spaced repetition.
Right. So the situation for me is I've learned 20 new words for a business meeting, but when I go to speak, poof, they're gone. I know I learned them, but I can't access them fast enough.
That's because you're probably using passive learning methods, just rereading your notes, highlighting texts.
Guilty.
Passive learning is so deceptive, it gives you this illusion of knowledge because the information is right there in front of you. You recognize it, but you haven't practiced retrieving it.
My first thought is just I need to reread my notes 50 times right before the meeting.
That's the common mistake. It's easier, but research shows students who use active recall have way higher long-term retention. So here's your power phrase. Teach it to your pet or yourself.
Teach my pet corporate finance. I love it. But why is retrieving it so much better than just seeing it again?
Active recall is all about pulling that information from your brain without looking. It's a mental workout. It strengthens those neural pathways. Every time you force your brain to locate that file, it makes it easier and quicker to find it the next time.
And if I can't recall it, it immediately shows me the gap in my knowledge, so I know exactly what I need to focus on.
Exactly. No more wasted time reviewing things you already know. And the most effective form of recall is self-testing and explanation. Teaching the words, their meaning, their usage, to a friend or your dog. It forces you to synthesize and apply the word in a new context.
Okay, so active recall is how I study. What about how often? That's where spaced repetition comes in, right?
Correct. Spaced repetition, or SR, leverages what's called the forgetting curve. It basically shows that our memory of new information drops off super fast if we don't reinforce it.
So SR is how I stop that knowledge from decaying.
It's how we strategically reset that curve. Instead of just reviewing whenever, an SR system schedules your reviews at increasing intervals, 1 day, then 3, then 7, and so on. It prompts you right before you're about to forget.
And that's what moves it from short-term to long-term memory.
With maximum efficiency, you spend your precious time on the words that are actually about to slip away.
Okay, usage example. I just taught my dog 10 verbs about corporate finance. He seems confused, but I feel great about them.
Perfect. Now, in a couple of days, your SR system, whether it's an app or digital flashcards, will ping you to quiz yourself before that knowledge decays. It's all about efficiency.
This is a game changer. So what's the third upgrade?
Hashtag upgrade 3. Context is king. Now we get right back to the unhand the toolbox disaster. Your mistake happened because you learned unhand in a vacuum. Words have personality, they have a tone, and you only see that in their natural habitat.
Right, so the theory here is sentence mining. Collecting whole sentences from real sources, like TV shows or podcasts, instead of just isolated words.
Exactly. You're acquiring these ready-made chunks of language, these collocations, which are words that just naturally go together. It's a massive boost to sounding natural.
Okay, so the situation, I see a new word, maybe plateau, while I'm watching the news. I look it up, but it still feels disconnected.
And the traditional passive mistake is,
I add the word plateau and its definition to my flashcard deck.
that's the isolation trap. You lose all the context. The power phrase here is, mine the full context.
Okay, but how do I do that without making my flashcards super complicated?
It's simple. You put the full sentence on the front of the flashcard. On the back, you only put the definition of the one unknown word.
Oh, just one.
Our sources are really clear on this. A sentence with more than one new thing is counterproductive. Your brain gets overloaded. We want low friction, high focus.
One new thing per sentence. I like that.
And you need good selection criteria. Choose sentences that are useful for you for casual conversation. You can use tools on YouTube, browser extensions that let you save the whole phrase instantly.
So instead of learning plateau as a noun for a geographical feature,
You mine the full sentence where you heard it. Something like, everybody gets this place at some point, so consider yourself forewarned. You hit a language learning plateau.
now I know how to actually use it when I'm complaining about my progress. I've got the whole phrase ready to go.
It's an immediate fluency boost. You're bypassing that conscious grammar construction.
Okay, these are amazing. What's next?
Hashtag tag tag upgrade 4. The fluency hacks. Let's get tactical. Our research highlights 2 specific performance strategies that are super effective for boosting that smooth, continuous speech in the moment.
I need this situation. I have to give a presentation in English, and in practice, I'm hesitating all the time.
And your instinct for how to practice is what? You try new material each time.
Yeah, I figure I should read a new, harder article every time to, expand my exposure.
That's great for input, but it doesn't help fluency. Remember, fluency is about speed and automatization. The single most effective strategy the research found for this is task repetition.
Just repeating the same thing. Why does that make me better at saying new things?
Because you're strengthening the automatization of the whole linguistic process. You're facilitating information retrieval. It's literally building muscle memory for complex sentences.
Okay, so the power phrase is shadow and repeat.
Exactly. Now, task repetition can be rehearsal or self-talk, but let's talk about shadowing.
Shadowing. That's where you repeat what you hear almost immediately, right?
Yes, like an echo. You're forcing your mouth and your mind to keep pace with a native speaker's rhythm and intonation. You stop thinking about the words, they just start coming out.
So for my presentation, I should practice it 3 times, trying to go faster each time.
You'll build that muscle memory, and if you get stuck, don't stop. This brings us to the second hack. Filler words.
You mean like, and ah? I thought those were bad.
They can be, but used strategically, they're essential. We're talking about filled pauses like, well, right, anyway, Native speakers use them constantly. They let you maintain the flow of speech while your brain is catching up and formulating the next part of your message.
So it buys me a few milliseconds of processing time without a big, awkward, silent pause.
Exactly. So if you get stuck in your presentation, don't stop. Use your new power phrase. Well, right, let me rephrase that. It keeps the listener engaged and tells your brain not to panic.
Now, a word of caution. The key is strategic use. Too many, especially those long, drawn-out ums, they signal a complete breakdown. But a few well-placed fillers, that's a hallmark of fluency.
Okay, now that we have these core strategies, let's talk about building the world around you to support them.
The immersion environment.
Exactly. We can't all just buy a plane ticket, but we can use the internet to build a high-quality immersion environment right at home. And we're going to apply our habit loop thinking to make it seamless.
10 concrete tips. Let's do it. Where do we start?
We start with the biggest time sink of all, YouTube. Tip 1, change your YouTube content location. Your algorithm is probably stuck in your mother tongue. Go into the settings and change your location, the country source, not the menu language, to where your target language is spoken.
Oh, that's smart. So it'll start recommending me trending videos from that country.
Instantly, you'll get a continuous stream of comprehensible input, from news to entertainment. Number 2, join online groups in your target language.
Not groups about learning the language.
No. Find communities built around a topic you already love. This creates powerful integrative motivation. If you love video games or photography, find Discord servers or Facebook groups dedicated to those things, but where the conversation is entirely in your target language.
So I get to talk about what I love, and the practice is just a side effect.
That's the goal. Number 3, stream target language news. Again, YouTube is your friend. Change your location, click on the Live tab, and look for Live Now News. You'll find 24-hour broadcasts.
And I can watch the live chat for real-time reactions and slang. That's a sentence mining gold mine.
Number 4, watch live streams on Twitch. This is perfect for casual, spontaneous language, the kind you hear with friends. You can filter streams by language and just hang out with native speakers.
It bypasses that formal, awkward language exchange feeling, especially for just low-stakes listening practice.
Number 5, for the gamers. Purchase and download games in your target language. Platforms like Steam let you filter games by language, and you want to look for ones with both subtitles and full audio for the most immersive experience.
Right. And for mobile, I should check the App Store info section. They usually list the languages there.
Moving on to reading and listening. Number 6, Buy and download ebooks. Physical books are great, but shipping can be crazy. Ebooks are cheap, instant, and give you massive amounts of input.
And I can search the Kindle store for Target Language Edition to find them.
Number 7. Download international radio apps. This is perfect for that commute or coffee queue we talked about. An app like TuneIn Radio Indexes streams from all over the world. You just browse by language.
Okay, so I can listen to a morning talk show from another country while I make breakfast.
Exactly. Number 8. Download a target language podcast app. Podcasts give you all the benefits of radio, but with way more control. Look for an app that lets you discover top charts by country or region, so you're finding content made by and for native speakers.
That's the key. I don't want podcasts about learning the language. I want podcasts using the language.
Number 9. Listen to target language music. It's motivating, it's fun, and it helps you internalize rhythm and pronunciation. On Spotify or Apple Music, just find the daily top 100 chart for a country where your target language is spoken.
And then the algorithm will start recommending me similar artists. It's a whole new world of music.
And finally, number 10. We have to bring it back to the active skills. Sign up for online tutoring or a language exchange. All that input is great for listening and reading, but speaking requires a person.
This is where we turn the input into performance. So should I pay for a tutor or do a free exchange?
Great question. A paid tutor offers structured learning and error correction, which is crucial for fixing those gaps. An AI tutor can offer real-time feedback in a judgment-free zone. But the free exchanges, those are about sustainable, long-term exposure and friendship.
But they can be awkward. What's the top tip for a good exchange?
Divide your time equally. Use a timer if you have to, half in your language, half in theirs. And just embrace the discomfort. You're there to make mistakes.
And speaking of discomfort and mistakes, that brings us to the pitfalls, the things that are going to sabotage all these amazing new habits we're building.
Welcome to the danger zone.
I'm Tom.
Now that you have the strategies, we have to talk about the psychological traps that will try to derail you. These trip up almost every single learner.
First up, the most famous one of all, the plateau effect.
Everybody hits this. Usually after that first exciting phase of learning the basics is over, you go from learning 50 words a day to feeling like you're learning nothing, even though you're still studying.
And the danger is thinking, oh, I'm just bad at languages, and then you give up.
That's the critical point. The plateau feels like you're not moving, but what's actually happening is your brain is doing this deep integration work. It's organizing everything you've already learned.
So it's not a failure, it's a necessary phase.
The plateau will end. You have to stay the course, keep up your habit loop. Even when you feel like you're not improving, you will break through.
Okay, so recognize the plateau and trust the process. What's the next trap?
The one you fell into. The perfection trap.
The one that causes all the anxiety.
Yes. Here's a hard truth. People who successfully master a language have made thousands and thousands of mistakes. People who fail make very few mistakes.
Because they don't even try.
Exactly. They're so afraid of the slightest error that they just avoid practicing. That anxiety kills your fluency before you even open your mouth. So the warning is clear. Do not wait for perfect grammar and pronunciation before you start speaking.
The more mistakes I make, the better.
In the long run, yes, because errors are how you learn. A great strategy is to use your mistakes as learning material. When you make one, like your child's instead of children example, write down the correction.
And then I can review it later using active recall.
Exactly. You turn that moment of embarrassment into a moment of intentional learning. It builds resilience. It shifts your mindset from I failed to I learned.
Okay, and the final trap.
The passive consumption trap and immersion. We just gave you 10 amazing ways to immerse yourself, but you have to be careful.
You mean I can watch Netflix with subtitles for 8 hours and feel like I'm studying, but I'm really just enjoying the show?
Precisely. Passive consumption is fine for fun, but it doesn't build fluency on its own. Extensive reading is great for building your vocabulary, but Reading and sentence mining alone don't guarantee you'll actually use those phrases when you speak.
I have to force the retrieval.
You have to pair those input strategies with active output. Talk to people, use a tutor, keep a journal where you force yourself to use your new mind sentences.
Yeah.
You have to bring that vocabulary bank to life.
So input is the fuel, but output is the engine that turns that fuel into high-speed performance.
That is the ultimate takeaway. And to summarize everything we've talked about, we've got 5 rapid-fire points to bulletproof your strategy.
Let's hear them.
1. Fluency is about performance. It's about ease and flow, not just knowledge.
2. Build a bulletproof habit loop. Cue, routine, reward. Attach it to something you already do to make consistency automatic.
3. Use the power duo, that's active recall, teach it to your pet, and spaced repetition to time your reviews perfectly.
4. Sentence, mine the full context. Collect whole phrases with only one new word per card to master how language is actually used.
And 5. Shadow and repeat. Use task repetition to build muscle memory for your speech, and use strategic filler words to keep the conversation flowing.
Okay, so here is your challenge for today. Identify one existing daily habit, your cue, and attach a small new English activity to it. That's your routine. Then find one full sentence from that routine and make it your very first mind phrase.
So maybe every time you're waiting for the microwave, that's your cue. You open a news site in your target language and read one headline. That's your routine, and then you mine that headline.
I've got mine. I'm going to start talking to myself in English in the mirror every single time I brush my teeth. The phrase I'm mining is, I am determined to utilize all 10 digital immersion strategies effectively. Easy cue.
Excellent use of integrated motivation. You care about yourself, so you're motivated to talk to yourself.
If you found this deep dive useful, please remind us that this whole process is worth repeating. Hit like and subscribe to English Podcast Voice.
We loved going through these strategies with you. Now go out there and build some bulletproof habits.
See you next